What's up, folks? MC in the house. So, message for today. At the rate we're going, it's inevitable, and you guys got to understand, eventually, the normies are going to get it too. All of you guys that are out there, somehow making excuses, either through your words or the way you're treating people, but making excuses for their inability to contribute to preserving society's freedoms and powers. Understand there's a certain point in this escalation where the line needs to be drawn. It started with the people, way back when, talking about, it started with 2 weeks to flatten the curve, right? 2 weeks to flatten the curve. It made sense. I was on board with that. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. After those 2 weeks, it escalated. It escalated to we have to make sure that we're social distancing, we're masking. Then there was lockdowns, and then somehow, and this is information's out there. I'm not fucking, opening anybody's fucking eyes for the first time with this information. It's an escalation of, for some reason the small businesses needed to close, but the big box stores were open. You can go to an airport, right? You have to have 6 feet between you as you're in line, and then you sit next to each other on an airplane, shoulder to shoulder. The data has already shown that, early on, especially in New York City, there was a seroprevalence test study done that showed that the majority of people that had been exposed to COVID early on were the people who were at home, locked down. It's just there's a point where, you want to say, oh, well, the people don't have the information. The people have the information. The information's been readily available. Then it's, well, a lot of people are just scared, and that's why, they're still putting masks on. That's why they're still, wearing gloves, those fucking morons. They're still scared. Okay, they're still scared. At some point, what winds up happening, these people start allowing, enabling, encouraging, assisting all of those people behind the scenes that are enacting, these tyrannical policies and changes to society. There's a certain point where, the useful idiots start to become toxic, and you need to have, listen, I'll be the last one to tell you what to do, but I will say that it would serve you well to at least define for yourself where that line is, that you draw in the sand, where these people that you are allied to, a certain level of complicity, they're going to be complicit, and it's going to escalate to the point where you are either going to have to tell them they're not connected to you. You're going to have to invest in changing, and finding a way to reconcile the offset between you and them, or you're going to wind up in some sort of a conflict, and the people now, I was just at the gym, and I had a guy, say good morning to me. It's an older gentleman, and he had a mask on. I heard him, but I looked at him, I said, I'm sorry, what did you say? And he said, good morning. And I said, it is a good morning. Let me ask you, why do you still have a mask on? Are you sick? And now, obviously, as soon as I start with that line of questioning, we're all now ready for it, right? We've been, successfully, divided into these two camps, these two groups. But I pressed on, are you sick? No, I'm not sick. I just wear it because I think it's a responsible thing to do. And I said, all right. I said, well, I'll tell you what, with all due respect, that's when you know something good's going to happen, right? When, especially if I say with all due respect. So I said, with all due respect, while you're covering your face, You know, I don't think of you as a respectable man, and I don't want to interact as if, you know, everything's okay and as if we're compatible at that level. If you want to say good morning to me, it's the first time I'm ever seeing this guy in my life, by the way. And an older gentleman on top of that, you know, he's got to be in his 60s. I said, you know, you could wear a mask and you know, whatever. That's your right. You know, we're Americans. I said, but if you're going to say good morning to me, at least have the common respect and decency to remove your face covering, to show me your face when you say good morning. Oh, well, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I said, well, no, you didn't mean to be disrespectful. I said, but, you know, you're probably not even paying attention to it. I said, listen, yours was a generation that taught my generation about manners and respect and acting, you know, with a certain amount of dignity you know, when you're in public, and especially when you're interacting with other men. I said, so you weren't disrespectful to me in any way that matters to me. I'm just saying, I am not in the habit. Now, mind you, a little side note, I'm having this conversation with the guy in the locker room. He just said good morning to me. I'm defining now what my line is. Somebody says good morning, somebody's looking to be social with me with the mask on, I'm not accepting that. That's my line. I firmly believe in mocking other individuals as a tool for avoiding conflict, contrary to what most people think. And I say most people, no, you don't want to mock people. You don't want to start something because then you wind up having a problem. No, here's the thing. You know, ironically, it's what the logic that the shot, right? The shot is sold on. You are going to be exposed to a certain amount of we'll say, stimulus. That stimulus will create and warrant a reaction, thereby inoculating you to the much larger stimulus that could happen later on that brings with it a greater degree of consequence. Well, what I am saying and what I'm arguing for is inoculating people at these lower levels of interaction to avoid the higher escalated forms of conflict. When you have individuals out there that are just, you know, I have to be nice and smile and be, you know, courteous and polite no matter what, it's like that's a very binary way to be. I know it's a very binary way to be. You know, there's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of subtlety, and, you know, if we're not exploring these things on a regular basis, then we lose the ability to control them. We lose the ability to actually wield these social tools, you know, that we should have at this point, right? Certainly as adults in this society. So the normies, you know, the smile, everything's nice, and like, there's a point where they're going to get it too. And you guys need to start learning how to be better pains in the ass, right? Be a better pain in the ass to those people who need to be poked and prodded in their positions so that they could actually, you know, think for themselves, you know, why do I feel it this way? Why am I abiding by these things? And maybe they have a position, maybe they're, you know, it's so firmly embedded in their identity that they're going to become offended and self-defensive, like, immediately. Okay, that's fine. But at a minimum, we need to have people understand that it's not okay to just go along with whatever, you know, the tyrants say. You know, a policy that's been, you know, America's for the longest, despite some hiccups in recent years, you know, is we don't negotiate with terrorists. Why don't we negotiate with terrorists? Because as soon as we open the conversation of negotiation, as soon as we add a level of malleability to our position, they know they can get their way. They just have to keep pushing. It incentivizes an escalation. It incentivizes a higher level of frequency of that conflict. You know, so I don't negotiate with terrorists. You know, somebody telling me I have to wear a mask, no, I'm not going to wear a mask. Somebody telling me, I remember my son had to go to the emergency room, over the summer. He split open his finger. I absolutely mask on immediately. Why? Because I'm on mission. And right now, my mission is to make sure my son gets medical attention. But I had to do that thought process before that ever occurred. So I understood where I was in this position. Some people, they got on a plane, they put the mask on. What's the big deal? What I'm doing, I need to do. And that's okay. Listen, that's your line. That's fine. Me, I'm not wearing a mask. I have family in Brazil. If I decided to visit Brazil, and they're still mandating masks, that might be something that I have to figure out at that point, but I'm willing to take a little bit of inconvenience. I'm willing to have to push a little bit. I'm willing to have to go out of my way to adjust some of my ways of living just to make sure that my standards are intact, and all those normies out there, they're on the sideline now, you may think, but they're really not, because if it wasn't for them, this thing would have already been over. All right. So I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon.